Welcome to Let's Talk English Podcast. Learn English with podcast.
In today's deep dive, we are going to talk about artificial intelligence and the new arms race.
Yes, it is a very big topic today.
Welcome, everyone. We are so glad you are here. Today, we are looking at what happens when militaries put smart computers inside their weapons.
Right.
We have read government memos, long reports from the United Nations, and many research papers.
A lot of reading.
Yes, a lot of reading. Our mission today is to understand how these machines actually work, why they are so fast, and how the world is trying to make safe rules for them. I am joined by our expert guest who has spent years studying global technology and military rules. Thank you for being here to guide us through this.
Oh, it is wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me. This is, one of the most important conversations we can have right now.
I agree.
The technology is moving much faster than most people realize.
Yeah.
We're going to break down these big, complex ideas so that the reasons behind them make complete sense.
That is exactly what we need to do. Let us start right at the core of the issue. In all the reports we reviewed, the experts keep using the phrase arms race. They call it the new AI arms race.
Yes, they do.
We hear this term a lot, but I want to understand the history behind it. What exactly is an arms race, and why is this one different from the past?
Well, to understand this, we really have to look back at history. An arms race is a competition driven by fear.
Driven by fear.
Right. It happens when two or more countries are afraid of each other, so they compete to build the strongest military. If we look at the early 1900s, there was a famous race to build massive ships.
Oh, right. Battleships.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Every country wanted a bigger ship with bigger guns.
Yeah.
Later, during the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union raced to build nuclear weapons.
Right. The really big bombs.
Yes. The goal was always the same. The goal was to have a better tool than your enemy, so your enemy would be too afraid to attack you.
So the old races were about physical size and physical power. It was about building a machine that was bigger or faster or louder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But today, the race is completely different. The United States, China, and many other nations are not racing to build the biggest ship or the heaviest bomb anymore. No, they're racing to build the smartest computer. The power of a modern weapon is not in the metal it is made of. The power is in the invisible computer code inside of it.
Wow. That is a major shift in how the world thinks about power. And this brings us to a very important phrase in our research. The phrase is lethal autonomous weapons systems.
Yes, LAWS.
Right, LAWS. We need to be very clear about what this means. Can we break down these words for our listeners?
Yes, we must understand these words clearly. So first, lethal means something that causes death. It is a deadly weapon.
Okay, deadly.
But the most important word is autonomous.
Autonomous.
Right. If a machine is autonomous, it means it can think, decide, and act all by itself. It does not need a human being to help it at all.
So we are not talking about a remote-controlled toy plane. Because with a remote control, there is still a human holding the controller and making the decisions.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
A remote-controlled drone still has a human pilot. The pilot is just sitting far away in a safe room.
Right?
But an autonomous weapon does not have a pilot. It is a machine that is given a goal, and then it is released. It can fly over a city, search for a target using its cameras, decide that it has found the target, and then attack that target.
All by itself.
Is all of this on its own?
The machine makes the final choice to fire the weapon.
Yes. There is no human pushing a button. There's no human watching a screen to say yes or no. The machine follows its math rules, which we call algorithms, to make the choice. This is why many people in the media use the phrase killer robots.
Killer robots. I can see why people use that phrase. It paints a very scary picture. But, I want to move away from science fiction and look at reality. How is this actually happening right now? Our research points to a real program called Project Maven.
Ah, yes. Project Maven.
It began in the United States in April of 2017. How does Project Maven explain this shift towards smart machines?
Well, Project Maven is the perfect example to show why militaries want this technology so badly. We need to imagine how war works today. Militaries use small flying machines called drones.
Right.
These drones fly high in the sky, silently watching the ground. A single drone can record video for 24 hours a day. Now imagine you have hundreds of these drones flying at the same time.
Oh, wow.
They're creating thousands and thousands of hours of video every single day.
That is a massive amount of video. How does anyone watch all of it?
In the past, human beings had to watch it. Rooms full of people stared at computer screens for hours. They were looking for tiny details in the video.
Kind of details.
They were looking for a specific type of truck or a group of people moving in the dark, or maybe a weapon hidden under some trees.
Can you imagine having to sit and watch hours of video all by yourself without missing a single detail?
I would ask you the same question. Could you do it?
No, that would be impossible. A human brain is not built to stare at gray, blurry video of a desert for 12 hours straight.
Exactly. It is almost impossible for a human. People get bored. Our eyes get tired. We lose focus. We blink and miss something important. The human body has limits. But, well, Project Maven changed this by using artificial intelligence.
Right.
Instead of a human watching the video, a smart computer program watches the video.
But how does a computer actually watch a video? I mean, it does not have eyes.
That is a great question. We need to understand how the machine learns. Scientists show the computer millions of pictures of military trucks. The computer analyzes the tiny dots of color in the picture, which are called pixels.
Pixels, yes.
It learns the exact shape, the shadows, and the patterns of a truck. After looking at millions of examples, the computer becomes an expert.
Wow.
So when you feed new drone video into the computer, it can spot a truck instantly. It draws a little bright box on the screen to show the human exactly where the target is.
And it does not get tired.
Never.
And it does not need to sleep. This brings me back to that shocking fact we found in our research. Before Project Maven, the human process of finding a target took 743 minutes.
Yeah.
That is over 12 hours of work just to find one thing. But with the AI doing the looking, that time dropped to under 1 minute.
Under 1 minute, yes. The speed is incredible. The machine processes the visual information in a few seconds. It saves human effort, and in a war, saving time can mean saving the lives of your own soldiers.
Wow, really? Under 1 minute is so fast. Now, I want to ask you something. Have you ever used an AI tool that saved you a lot of time? Think about it for a second. Tell us in the comments. We would love to read them.
Yes, AI saves time in normal life too.
But that speed, well, it also changes everything about how decisions are made. Think about the last time you used a map on your phone and the computer gave you the wrong directions. It told you to turn left into a wall.
Right, computers make mistakes.
Exactly. Now imagine that same margin of error applied to a powerful weapon in a war zone. If the machine makes a mistake, who takes the blame? This leads us into the deepest part of our research today.
This is the exact question that worries lawyers and world leaders. When machines operate at the speed of seconds, the traditional rules of human conflict start to fall apart.
Let us talk about those rules. Many people might assume that war is just chaos with no rules at all. But our research shows that there is a strict system called international humanitarian law. Can you explain what this law is and why it exists?
Yes, war is violent, but it is not completely without rules. For a very long time, countries have agreed to certain global laws. The goal of international humanitarian law is to limit suffering.
Limit suffering.
Right. It is a set of rules that tells soldiers what they are allowed to do, and more importantly, what they are never allowed to do.
So what is the most fundamental rule in this system?
The most important rule is the rule of distinction.
Distinction.
To distinguish means to tell the difference between two things. In war, a soldier must always tell the difference between an enemy fighter and a normal, innocent person.
Okay, I see.
You are allowed to attack the enemy soldier. You are absolutely forbidden from attacking a farmer walking in his field or a doctor in a hospital.
That makes logical sense. A human soldier can look at a person and see if they're wearing a uniform or carrying a weapon. But how does a machine handle the rule of distinction?
This is where the technology really struggles. A computer is very good at recognizing the shape of a truck. But humans are very complex.
Yes, we are.
Imagine a person holding a long metal object. A human soldier might look closely and realize the person is an innocent farmer holding a shovel.
Right.
A human soldier can see the farmer's body language. They can see if the farmer looks relaxed or aggressive.
But the machine only sees pixels. It might look at the shape of the shovel, match it to a picture of a rifle in its database, and, well, decide it is a weapon.
Exactly. The machine does not understand context. It
Yeah.
does not understand human emotion or intent. If the machine wrongly decides the shovel is a rifle, it might attack the innocent farmer.
And this brings up a massive legal problem. If a human soldier knowingly attacks an innocent farmer, that soldier has committed a war crime.
Yes, a serious crime.
The human soldier will be arrested, put on trial, and sent to jail. But if an autonomous machine makes the same mistake, we hit a wall. Our sources call this the accountability gap. Let us unpack this concept.
Accountability is a very important word. It means taking responsibility for your actions. It means someone can point at you and say, you did this, and you must face the consequences.
Right.
A gap is an empty hole. So the accountability gap is an empty hole in the law where responsibility should be.
To understand this, let us use a simple comparison. Let us think about a self-driving car in a normal city. If a person is driving a car and they run through a red light and hit someone, the driver goes to jail.
Yes.
But if a completely self-driving taxi runs a red light and hits someone, who do the police arrest?
That is the perfect comparison.
Yeah.
You cannot arrest the passenger sitting in the back of the taxi. They were not driving.
No, they were just sitting there.
And you certainly cannot put handcuffs on a computer server. The machine cannot feel guilt. The machine cannot go to prison.
So who is responsible? Do you blame the software developer who wrote the computer code for the taxi? Or do you blame the company that owns the taxi?
It is very complicated in normal life, but in war, it is much worse. Let us apply this to the autonomous weapon. Who do you think should be blamed if a smart machine makes a mistake?
Oh, wow. That is very confusing. I mean, do we blame the computer programmer, but the programmer might have written that code 5 years ago, sitting in a quiet, peaceful office building? They had no idea when or where the weapon would be used. It seems very unfair to send the programmer to jail for a specific mistake in a chaotic battle years later.
I completely agree. So if not the programmer, do we blame the military commander? The commander is the person who carried the weapon into the field and turned the power switch on.
But the commander could argue that they did not know the machine would make a mistake. They trusted the machine to follow the rules. They did not push the button to attack the farmer. The machine did it on its own.
This is the empty space. This is the accountability gap. Nobody wants to take the blame, and the law does not know who to punish. Because this gap is so dangerous, experts from around the world have created a new phrase to try and fix the problem.
What is the phrase?
The phrase is meaningful human control. Some also call it appropriate care.
I want to focus on the word meaningful. What does it actually mean to have meaningful control over a smart machine?
Well, it is not enough to just have a human standing nearby. Imagine a system where the computer finds a target and a message pops up on a human's computer screen saying, "Target found. Press OK to attack."
Okay.
If the human just blindly presses the OK button every time without looking at the details, that is not meaningful control.
That is just using a human as a rubber stamp. The machine is still really making the choice.
Exactly. Meaningful control means the human must fully understand the situation. The human must know why the computer chose the target. The human must have enough time to think about it. And most importantly, the human must have the physical power to stop the machine before it acts. The human must remain the master.
That is a great point. Can you think of a time when a computer or a machine made a mistake for you? Who was blamed for it? Try saying it out loud right now.
Yes, it happens all the time. But in war, how does a human maintain meaningful control when the machine is processing information in a single second?
Right.
The speed of the technology seems to make human control impossible.
That is the tension at the center of the AI arms race. We want the machines because they are incredibly fast, but their incredible speed is exactly what makes them so hard to control.
Yes, exactly.
We have established how difficult this problem is. Now, I want to explore how different parts of the world are trying to solve it. Our research documents show that different countries are building their military AI in very different ways.
Very different.
They have different philosophies. And I want to remind our listener that we are just sharing facts from our sources today. We are not taking any political sides. We are looking at these systems to understand how culture and money change the technology. Let us begin with the United States.
Okay, the United States. The Department of Defense realized they needed a clear set of rules for their engineers and soldiers. So they published 5 ethical principles for artificial intelligence.
5 principles.
Yes, ethical means principles about what is right and wrong behavior.
Let us explore these 5 principles in detail because they show exactly what the U.S. military is focusing on. What is the first principle?
The first principle is that AI must be responsible. This connects directly back to what we just discussed about meaningful control.
Meaningful human control.
Yes. The U.S. military is saying that humans must always be responsible for the development and the use of the AI. A machine cannot be allowed to just wander off and start a war.
So the human chain of command must remain intact. Humans are always in charge. What is the second principle?
The second principle is equitable. This is a very interesting one. Equitable means fair and balanced.
Fair.
We often think of computers as being perfectly logical and mathematical, but computers can actually be biased. They can show unfair prejudice.
Wait, really? How can a math equation be biased or prejudiced?
It happens because of the data used to teach the computer. Imagine you teach a computer to recognize cars, but you only show it pictures of cars taken during bright daylight.
Okay.
If you try to use that computer at night, it will fail. It has a bias toward daylight.
Oh, I see.
In the military, if an AI is only trained on pictures of certain landscapes or certain types of people, it might make terrible mistakes when it sees something new. The equitable rule means engineers must work very hard to remove these blind spots from the machine's memory. The AI must be fair and not biased.
That makes perfect sense. They have to ensure the machine understands the whole world, not just a small piece of it. That leads us to the third principle. What is it?
The third principle is traceable. If you trace something, you follow its footsteps backward to see where it came from.
Traceable.
This is a massive challenge in modern artificial intelligence. Many advanced AI systems are like a black box.
A black box. What do you mean by a black box?
It means information goes into the computer and an answer comes out. But even the programmer does not fully understand what happened inside. The computer's brain is so complex that its decisions are a mystery.
Oh, wow. That sounds very dangerous for a weapon. If a machine attacks a building, you need to know exactly why it chose that building.
Yes. If you cannot trace the decision, you cannot learn from mistakes. The traceable rule says that people can see how the AI made a decision. They can open the black box and see the math that led to the final choice.
Okay, so the first three are responsible, equitable, and traceable. What is the fourth rule?
The fourth principle is reliable. This means the machine is tested and safe. It must do exactly what it's supposed to do every single time without fail. It must be tested over and over again in very harsh conditions.
But, a war zone is not a neat, clean laboratory. A war zone is full of smoke, dirt, bad weather, and confusion. Testing something in a quiet lab does not mean it will be reliable in the mud and rain of a real battle.
That is the exact challenge the engineers face. Making an AI reliable in perfect conditions is easy. Making it reliable in the chaos of war is incredibly difficult. And that brings us to the fifth and final principle, which is governable.
Governable. To govern something means to control its limits, right?
Correct. A governable system is a system that can be stopped. The U.S. military demands that if an AI starts acting in unexpected ways, or if it stops working correctly, there must be a way for humans to turn it off.
Like a kill switch.
Exactly. Humans can turn it off if it goes wrong.
But here is the tension I see in these rules. We want the system to be reliable and governable. But what if the drone is flying far away and the enemy uses a signal jammer to cut off the radio communication? The human cannot reach the kill switch anymore.
You have hit the exact problem that worries the experts. If you lose communication, the machine is no longer governable by the human. It's completely alone. This shows how hard it is to write perfect rules for imperfect situations.
That is so interesting. We can see that the United States is focusing heavily on the engineering and ethical limits of the machines themselves. Now, let us look at a completely different strategy. Let us look at China.
Yeah.
Our research describes China's approach as a layered strategy. What does it mean to have a layered approach to AI?
Well, China approaches artificial intelligence not just as a tool for the military, but as a tool for their entire society. The layers mean that everything is connected. To understand China's strategy, we have to understand their most valuable resource.
Okay.
For the Chinese Communist Party, data is the most important tool.
Data. Data just means information, right? Pictures, text, numbers, records of where people travel.
Yes. The more data an AI system has, the smarter it becomes. It is like feeding a fire with wood. China collects a massive amount of data. They use AI for banking, for shopping, and to manage their economy. They also use AI to watch over society.
Oh, like cameras.
Yes. Our sources mention a vast camera system known as Skynet.
The Skynet system is a network of cameras watching streets in public areas.
Correct. These cameras collect endless streams of video data. This data is fed into their artificial intelligence systems to make them better at recognizing faces, tracking movement, and predicting behavior.
So the military AI in China benefits from the data collected in the civilian cities. They are not separate. They are layered together.
That is exactly how it works. And because it is all connected to the government, there is a very unique rule that guides their AI development. The rules require AI to follow core socialist values.
I want to pause on this because it is fascinating. A socialist value is a political idea. It is a human philosophy about how a society should be organized. How do you write a political philosophy into mathematical computer code?
It sounds very strange, but it is done through reward functions. When you train an AI, you give it points when it gives the right answer, and you take away points when it gives the wrong answer.
Like a game.
Exactly. The engineers design the training so the computer's rewarded when its answers agree with the rules and goals of the state. The political values become the boundaries of the machine's logic.
Wow. That is a profound difference from the United States. The US is focused on tracing the math, while China is focused on controlling the data and aligning the logic with state values. Now, let us move to a third country that is taking a completely different path from both of them. Let us look at Russia.
Yes, Russia's approach is very different. The United States and China are spending billions and billions of dollars to build highly complex, perfect AI systems. Russia is taking a very different road.
Instead of building one perfect machine, what are they doing?
Instead of building perfect, expensive AI, they're building cheap, simple AI drones. Their philosophy is that in a brutal, fast-moving war, having a large number of cheap weapons is better than having a small number of expensive weapons.
It is about mathematics on the battlefield. If you have a drone that costs $10 million, well, you are very afraid to lose it. But if you have a drone that costs a few $1,000s, it does not matter if the enemy destroys it. You just send 10 more to replace it.
Exactly. This leads to a tactic called swarm logic. Think about a huge flock of small birds flying together in the sky.
Right.
If one bird changes direction, the others follow. They move as one giant cloud. Russia and many other nations are interested in programming cheap drones to act like a swarm. They communicate with each other in the air. If one drone is shot down, the rest of the swarm automatically adjusts and keeps flying toward the target.
That is so interesting. But building this technology still requires advanced computer chips. Where does Russia get the computer brains for these cheap drones?
This is the most surprising part of our research. Russia does not manufacture all of these advanced computer chips themselves. Interestingly, they rely heavily on parts bought from other countries,
Both countries.
including Western nations. They buy commercial computer parts from all over the world.
Wait, really? They are buying parts meant for normal electronics and putting them into weapons?
Yes. The computer chip inside a cheap military drone might be very similar to the computer chip inside a modern washing machine or a video game console. By buying commercial parts globally, they save money and build weapons very quickly.
Wow. This shows us three totally distinct visions for the future. The United States tries to control the machine through strict ethical testing. China tries to control the machine through total data integration and state values. Russia tries to win by using cheap, available parts to flood the zone.
Yes, exactly. A country's culture and money change how they build technology.
Now, I want to ask you something. We just talked about 3 different ways to build AI. Which of these approaches do you think makes the most sense? Tell us what you think in the comments.
It is a great question for everyone to think about. And because everyone is building different systems, it leads us to the biggest challenge of all.
Regulating it.
Yes, how do we regulate it?
Exactly. With everyone racing to build AI, is anyone trying to make global rules? This brings us to the United Nations.
Yes, the United Nations is the central place where countries go to debate global problems. Inside the UN, there is a specialized committee that focuses purely on this issue. It is called the GGE.
The GGE, what does that stand for?
It stands for the Group of Governmental Experts.
Who makes up this group and what is their mission?
The GGE is a group of people from all over the world who have been meeting since 2017 to talk about these weapons. It includes diplomats, military leaders, and technology experts.
27, that was several years ago. Have they managed to agree on a final set of rules yet?
No, they have not. The process is incredibly slow. In 2024 and 2025, they worked on a rolling text.
What exactly is a rolling text?
It is a shared document where they try to agree on basic rules. Imagine a very long document on a screen. Every country in the room has the power to suggest changes to the words. One country types a sentence, another country demands that a word be deleted.
Oh, wow.
The text is constantly rolling, constantly changing, as they argue over every single detail.
That sounds like an extremely frustrating process. Why is it so hard for them to agree? What are the main options they are fighting over?
Our sources show that the debate is frozen because countries are divided into 3 main options. Let us look at the first option. The first option is to write a strict new law to ban these weapons completely.
A total ban. That sounds like the safest choice for humanity. But practically, how would it work? If a country signs a piece of paper saying they will not build AI weapons, how do we know they are telling the truth?
That is the fatal flaw of the first option. It is almost impossible to enforce. In the past, if you wanted to know if a country was building nuclear weapons, you could use a satellite to look for giant factories.
Right, big physical buildings.
But AI is invisible.
AI is just computer code. A team of engineers could be writing illegal weapon code on normal laptops in a coffee shop.
Exactly. You cannot send international inspectors to read every line of computer code in every country. So, because a total ban is so hard to verify, some countries prefer the second option.
Okay, what is the second option?
Option 2 is to write a friendly agreement that is not a strict law. Countries would sign a document saying, "We promise to be careful, we promise to keep human control." But it is not a strict law. It is just a friendly agreement based on trust.
But a friendly promise has no teeth. If a country breaks the promise during a war and uses a killer robot anyway, there is no legal punishment. They just broke a guideline.
That is the exact problem with option 2. It makes people feel good, but it does not actually protect anyone when a war starts. And this brings us to the third option.
What is left? If not a ban and not a friendly promise, what is the third choice?
Option 3 is to do nothing and just use the old rules of war. Several powerful countries argue that we do not need new laws for artificial intelligence. They say we should just use the existing international humanitarian law that we discussed earlier.
But we just spent a large portion of this deep dive explaining why the old laws do not work. We talked about the accountability gap. The old laws require a human to take the blame, but AI is a machine.
You are entirely correct. The old rules were written for human soldiers, not for computer networks thinking in milliseconds. But some nations prefer this option because it leaves them free to keep developing the technology without any new rules.
This looks like an impossible puzzle. The ban cannot be inspected, the friendly agreement cannot be enforced, and doing nothing leaves a dangerous gap in the law. Do you think it is possible for every country in the world to agree on one rule?
I was just thinking that. What do you think?
It sounds very difficult because countries want to win the technology race. Fear drives the race. No one wants to be the first person to stop building because they are terrified the other countries will keep going.
That is the reality of global politics.
Yeah.
The technology is moving forward at lightning speed. Now, I want to ask our listener, what do you think? Should all AI weapons be banned completely by a global law? Try saying your answer out loud right now.
It is a very hard question. We have covered a massive amount of complex information today, and I want to summarize everything we just discussed.
That is a great idea.
We started by talking about what military AI is. We looked at Project Maven and how computers can find targets from drone video in less than 1 minute, far faster than any human.
Right.
We also discussed the absolute need for humans to stay in control and why it is so hard to blame a machine if it makes a mistake. Then we looked at how the US, China, and Russia are building AI very differently. The US uses strict rules, China uses massive data, and Russia uses cheap parts.
Yes.
Finally, we saw how the UN is struggling to make global rules. They are stuck between a ban, a friendly agreement, or doing nothing. I really hope our breakdown today helped make these difficult concepts clear and that you feel you have truly learned something valuable today.
I think we covered it very well.
Before we conclude, I want to leave you with one final thought. This is an idea that builds on everything we just discussed. We know that computers think in milliseconds. As AI gets faster and faster, will humans even have enough time to make a decision? Or will our slow human brains force us to let the machines take full control just to survive? It is a question that will define the future of human conflict.
It is the ultimate question,
Yeah.
the speed of the machine against the slow human brain. Thank you for having this deep and important discussion with me today.
Thank you for sharing your expertise and helping us understand. If you learned something from this deep dive, please subscribe to the Let's Talk English podcast channel so you never miss a new deep dive. We upload new deep dives every week to help you speak English with confidence. See you in the next one.